Hello everyone, Cheek here with another Transformers review, and today I'll be reviewing Transformers Legacy Blitzwing. As you can see, there he is in his jet, robot, and tank modes, and there are the giant gauntlets that they decided to include for him for whatever reason. Don't know why, maybe so that they feel better about selling him at a leader class price point. I'm not sure if he's leader class size or he's more Voyager class size, but anyway, yeah, he's leader class. And bottom of the box, side of the box, standard artwork, and the back of the box, 32 steps and 41 steps, and yeah, giant gauntlets. And there it is if you want to look at his bio. And then there is some artwork of him in his tank mode, which has caused an uproar to an extent amongst the fans, myself included. I wasn't originally even going to get this guy. I saw him at Walmart. I was like, ew, I have to get it. It's one of those things like, you might not want a particular figure, but when you see it in stores and you know it's kind of hard to find, you're like, well, maybe I should at least give it a chance. But based on that and that, we'll see. So yeah, without further ado, let's get him out of the packaging. Here we have him out of the box and in his robot mode, and any of you that have this figure will know that he comes packaged in tank mode, but I thought that I would do something a little bit different and start off in robot mode, also starting off on a stronger foot, so to speak, because it is probably his strongest mode. But anyway, yeah, this is Blitzwing. He does come with some accessories. He does come with some gauntlets that are done in red translucent plastic. There's kind of like fingers, but they're like gun fingers. I think they just include that to make the leader class price point not seem so, so as bad. And it comes with 2 rifles done in black dark purple, purple plastic, with some nice molded in detail. And then here we have his sword, which is molded in the purple flexible plastic with a silver painted blade. And that's about it for the accessories. So let's go ahead and test them out. My first attempt at getting his gauntlets on were kind of mediocre at best. But you kind of just rotate his arm around and hand around, and then you just slide his hand right in there. But in my experience, it does not want to stay on, because either they probably just didn't make that peg long enough, but it's supposed to peg on. After a bit of fiddling, if you can manage to get him to stay on, he looks like he has a big old Hulk Buster hand type things, which looks kind of cool, but like I said, there's not much posability with it. You can move those around, but it looks like he could do a lot of damage with those, although it's not as G1, so some G1ers would be like, hey, baby, why'd you include those? It's completely pointless. Why don't just sell at a lower price point? That's not completely me. I mean, it does have a kind of coolness to it, but it is a little ridiculous. But ridiculous can be fun sometimes. Now, there is a thing you can do with them for storage, but considering how hard it is to get them off, you just pretty much take off the hand, plug it back in like that. But like I said, it's difficult to remove, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it like that. I wish they would have just had a flippy hinge to get to flip in, but nope, they did not do that. They just want to do something a little bit simpler, I suppose. I always seem to forget important things such as articulation. And I guess I should have shown him off with his sword, even though I did show off his sword, just not him with his sword. Which actually does look pretty cool and pretty G1-y. It is definitely pretty nice. Although, you don't want to store it improperly or else it'll become permanently deformed, as is a problem with most of the swords or any bladed type things. And then, of course, you can plug in his guns into his hands, and then there's also side pegs. Doesn't really matter, because you could probably also plug either one onto his forearm, unless that hole is a little too big, but it should probably work. Probably. Let's go ahead and test that out right now, as a matter of fact. And yes, it does work, but it does look kind of goofy, but you can put his guns on the side of his forearms. And then for a detail, that noggin looks absolutely amazing. Done with silver paint for the face, red for the visor, yellow for the rest of his head, yellow silver and red triangles on his chest, silver on his mid-torso, silver and what looks like vents or something on his crotch flap things, and then silver for his thighs, purple for his legs, Decepticon emblems, which are also part of the jet wings, and then thruster feet with tail fin feet. G1, I think, just had the tail fin feet right here. Didn't have the thrusters right there. I think it was just round because they were just stickers. They weren't actually those, so his feet kind of looked really goofy. And then articulation. Head can look up that far, down about that far, get a little bit of wiggly waggly, can do a full 360. Arms out that far, can go pretty decent, but I think if you pull too far, that would be a little bit more going into transformation. Arms can go forward that far. The shoulder part up here does not rotate. The shoulder, I guess, is just right in there. Can't really go back because of the backpack. Out that far. Bicep swivel, wrist swivel, and I guess you can bend that in, but that is also just for transformation. Legs can go forward that far. Back, not too far, and there's no flaps back here, but I guess like backpack, what's the point? Yes, I can only go back that far. A little over 90-degree bend at the knee, thigh swivel, and ankle tiltage, quite a lot of it. And he can't quite do the full splits, but almost. So yeah, that's about it for his articulation. So let's go ahead and get him into his tank mode. To get him into his tank mode, it's pretty much just reverse of what you do to get him in a robot mode, which I guess is pretty straightforward, mostly, but you just kind of get this all pulled back down. You flip this around. Although one thing that I would advise doing, although it doesn't say it in the show it in the instructions, but you should probably just rotate his head around for one of the complaints I do have in his tank mode. And then, of course, yeah, that's for jet mode. I'll flip that out. Let's see. Then I'm gonna rotate this panel up, flip hand in, close back up, or let's see, have that. Come on. Yeah. Rotate around. Let's see. Am I doing this right? Ah, there we are. Get it lined up just like so. And on the other side, same as this side, just rotate that in, flip his hand in, rotate around, flip up, get it lined up right there, like so, and then you have two sides done. And then on the back for the legs, flip those out. Although we're not getting his wings out, we're just doing it so we can collapse his legs in, like so, collapse in, like so, and then just close the leg back up, just clip the wing back in, and just make sure everything's all nice and lined up. And you'll see there's, looks like, I guess it doesn't really tab in there, but it does clip into place, and it holds in place fairly well. And just squeeze the legs together. Yeah, untab the tail fins, close his feet up, place them back up, or actually no, for tank mode you want to flip those back down, and then pretty sure you rotate this around, unless that's for jet mode. That's one problem with triple changers, is that sometimes you'll mix up a step meant for one alternate mode with the other. But let's see. Yeah, it's supposed to be like this. That is for jet mode, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, these little tabs go in there on either side, like that. And then this pulls down on a double hinge, and this tabs into the tail fin, and then this just flips around and kind of goes behind here. It's one of those annoying things. And this also tabs into that slot right there on the arm. Let's see. There we are. There, got that into place. And for this one, same second verse, just like the first. Just get that close up, tabbed into place, rotate around, get that nice and lined up, then close up, and you pretty much have the tank mode done. Just want to make sure everything else is just nice and in place, and then you flip this out, flip the turret, or well, the barrel out, and you can make sure this is in place, and there we have him in his tank mode. And I'd say overall it does look like a pretty decent tank with two glaring issues. One is the front of the airplane sticking out quite a bit, but I did do some research, cartoon models, and also of the G1 toy that did stick out. It does look, it is really annoying, but that is how it showed up. I don't know if it's in every single cell, every single scene when he was in his tank mode that he had that, but in some of them, at least in the 86 movie, it was there. And then of course you have big old jet thrusters, which were just stickers on the original one, so it's like it would have stuck out anyway if they had decided to put thrusters. As far as articulation, the turret can do a full 360, and the barrel can move up, and it doesn't really go down, but that's also kind of sort of for transformation, but it does make for some tank turret action. And you can store weapons on him in his alt mode. You have hole peg, or hole here, hole here, hole here, hole up here. Same on this side, so you can you can pretty much fully armor him up. And then right here is where I think there's some, if I remember right, there's a special little area that you can plug in the gauntlets, which definitely looks really bad in my opinion, but it's something you can do. Is, let's see, by tabbing them in like that. Now granted, the gauntlets would be inside, but like I said, didn't really, I guess I'll show it off with at least just one of them, but just plug that in, and then you have, I guess, a rocket launcher, something like that. But you just plug those in, and as you can see, they don't necessarily want to stay in place. Yeah, that one's not staying in place. But as you can see there, it is kind of precarious, but you can have giant rocket launchers on your tank turret. But it's weapon storage if you want it. Definitely there if you so desire. To get him from a tank to jet mode, it's not too difficult for the most part. Although the instructions don't tell you how to go directly from tank to jet, only from tank to robot and then robot to jet. But of course, obviously, if you can, generally speaking, you don't have to go from one to the other, or from one to the other. With triple changers, you can generally go from one mode to the other. But of course, that involves, I guess, knowing exactly what you should do in what situation. Anyway, so to get him into a jet mode, you want to go ahead and, well, let's, I guess, go ahead and put away his turret. Pull that back there, close it back down, although you don't want to pop it down quite yet because you do have to get this up here like you would for robot mode. So let's just go ahead and flip that out. That goes up, flip back, that goes up, and then just collapse in on that double hinge, lift up, because we're going to have to get the feet spread apart, or legs split apart, so that we can get the wings out. And there is a little tab right there, right here. If you'll see these two little tabs right there, they tab into right in that slot on the wing. You may not be, or yeah, that slot right there. There's one right here, and then right there. It's just I didn't notice it right away. And then you flip up this so it doesn't get in the way as you're putting it back in. Flip that up. Go ahead and flip the wing out. Flip out. Flip back in. Close the legs back together. Make sure that the hips are lined up right, because there'll be problems if you don't. And then just unclip. Pull all the way down. And when you do, this right here will tab into up in here. Just push down and just have a good push. It doesn't click, doesn't snap into place like that one does, but it will just slide into place. And then we just get everything all lined up again. This tabs in right there, and then of course this tabs in right here like before, although it is a little bit trickier considering that the wings aren't in there anymore. Not say hard, but a little more annoying, I guess. And then just make sure everything is pegged in, which it's not right quite yet. Yeah, it's being a little bit of a nuisance right there. And then you just press down on that. Just make sure everything is all right with this. And one last thing really is to flip out his nose cone. Just flip that up, pull out his nose cone, and mine was really stiff on the first try, so I had to use a tool, so be careful if you have to that you don't damage the paint on there. And that's pretty much it to come in tank, or from tank into jet. And then he has a landing gear that you can flip out. And here we have him in his jet mode. And it's, I'd say in some ways the tank mode is probably the strongest of the vehicle modes, because even from a strictly top view, you can still see the tank bits poking out. It's not horrible, but it is pretty glaring, especially from the front. And the sides, I mean, I guess it isn't the worst thing ever, although the wings look really thin compared to all this. So it's not horrible. I mean, if you look at pictures of the G1 in his jet mode, it's kind of similar. It's not exactly the same, but it does pretty much take up a huge chunk. Of course, when you do triple changers, like I've mentioned in the past, there's going to be sacrifices made for the different alt modes. Oh, and yes, the gauntlets can also be stored in his jet mode. And it looks even worse than in his tank mode. And they pretty much attach to the back of his jet mode. But you have to flip his feet open so you can, I guess, plug this into the hole in the bottom of his foot. Like right there. Just flip that down. I guess I assume you probably want to also flip that up, but we'll see. Yeah, definitely want to flip his feet up. So I guess you have his feet open, so he doesn't have thrusters. I guess he has gauntlet thrusters, which, I mean, I guess it's a mood. I guess it's a move, a mood, whatever you want to call it. But it is something that can be done. Whoa. But there we go. There we have him with his gauntlets. In some ways, it actually adds to it a little bit. I mean, it's very corny, cheesy, goofy. Kind of like having two jets combined into one jet in Super God Master Force, which is a good show, by the way. You should check it out if you ever get the chance. If you're that much of a weeb, I guess, because at that point it's pretty much a Japanese anime. Anyway, back to the matter at hand. So I would say that Blitzwing, Legacy Blitzwing, is okay or pretty good, but I'd say if you're wanting something for the alt modes, I probably recommend going with a third-party figure. I don't have any of them personally myself, but some of them look pretty good. But if you're wanting a decent robot mode, he definitely fits that bill. He definitely has a really good robot mode, and he definitely will go well with your Legacy / Kingdom / Siege / Earthrise collection because they're all kind of part of the same series, sorta, but they are, generally speaking, mostly to scale. So if you're, I guess, as they like to say, chug collector, this is definitely a figure for you. If you like this review and you'd like to see more, please click that like and subscribe button to see more. And until next time, have a good one, everyone.